What's one thing in your life that truly allows you to express yourself?
To sing.
I love to dance.
To rap.
Okay, let's do it.
I am not a stranger to the dark. Hide away, they say, 'cause we don't want your broken parts.
You can put your mind and do whatever you want to do. Just tell yourself that you're capable too. But don't do things that ain't even cool. And get rid of them no good friends that's enabling you, making you feel like you won't be nothing, your life crumbling, they talk mumbling. You gon' be something. You are glorious. We're no gangs but warriors. We well known, notorious. They can't stop you or block you or mock you. They mad cause you bad and they not you. You fall down but get up and skip and hop through. Kick down doors for others to walk through. You have a purpose to make you say, did I do that? Urkel. Now we callin' reality virtual. This is who I am, this is me. Don't let them words hurt you.
When the sharpest words wanna cut me down, I'm gonna send a flag, gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me.
Look out, 'cause here I come, and I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen. I make no apologies. This is me. Another round of bullets hits my skin. Well, fire away, 'cause today I won't let the shame sink in.
We are bursting through the barricades and reaching for the sun. Yeah, that's what we've become.
I won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us. Oh, we're going up. When the sharpest words wanna cut me down, I'm gonna send a flood, gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come. And I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen. I make no apologies. This is me.
I'm alone, I never fit the mold. The world is so cold, hold it down on my own. I'm just trying to reach up to the sky, see the moon. I got confidence cause I'm the flies in the room. And I've been knocked down, but I always get up. I had some fake friends, had to go and switch up. Yeah, no pain, no strain, I ain't chasing all the fame. Cause I got more to gain and I'm just trying to make a change. I'm just doing me, I'm in my own lane. I fell down a few times, but I'm up again. Marching to another drum, see me crawl, see me run. When they thought that I was done, nah, here I come. I'm not weak, I get on my feet. No apologies, yeah, this is me.
And I know that I deserve your love.
There's nothing I'm not worth.
When the sharpest words gonna cut me down, I'm gonna send a flood, gonna drown them out. This is brave, this is bruised, this is who I'm meant to be. This is me.
Gonna drown them out.
came to live Ottawa on Great Canada. Up on, I don't know, what, Smith or Ring Street, where this fucking Chio place is. I know where Chio is. My wife's in there with my oldest son. Was getting a sleep test done to see if he's taking seizures in his sleep. Because 3 years ago, like I said, he was diagnosed with epilepsy. And he was taking something called petty seizures more often, and he took 2 grand mal seizures. And then they gave him some medication, and he kind of took it, kind of didn't. And his mind always felt the little fucker. And they basically have stopped, in a matter of speaking. As far as we know, he's not having seizures, so they want to make sure he's not having them at night. So they made a test. They've done a test about a year ago, maybe now. And now, so this is the second test, so they can compare results to see if whatever. It's not something I know a lot about, so I'm not going to pretend to know a lot about it. I did as much research as I possibly could to figure this shit out for him. And I think that's something every parent would do if they're of sound mind. The doctor tells you, kid has something, then you just don't look anything up and just take the doctor's word for everything and not necessarily challenge the doctor's opinion. Let's see if there's shit that you can do to help out, you know what I mean? Anyways, that's besides the fact. But I guess what I'm trying to say is just, yeah, I'm in Ottawa. And my son hasn't been having seizures, so that's a good thing. I am of the belief that we can heal ourselves. No matter big or small, we can heal ourselves. Shit, I'm turning off this stuff. Now, if you have something big, something like a cancer, maybe even epilepsy, like I say, because he's got scar tissue on his brain, which is what was caused by this, by something happening. So there's something, whatever his brain was developing, that didn't necessarily get developed correctly, which was causing. And I mean, these things spark when puberty hits. And when my son 2 years ago, my stepson, I mean, he's fucking like 6 something now. He's a monster. He's way bigger than I am. If I have a picture, I'll throw it up. But before he got diagnosed, he wasn't this tall. So he was hitting puberty and extra testosterone and all these things. This is when these things will happen. Your brain's trying to develop and all that, but if it didn't develop correctly, well, these things happen. So I'm of the mind, body, and soul and belief, like within my being, I believe that we can fucking heal anything. Now, if it's something really big, well, it's going to be a hell of a lot harder, and you're going to have to be more than 100% dedicated. You say, oh, there's no such thing as more than 100%. I'm like, oh yeah, there is. I can give 100%, but then I can give like extra above and beyond, you know. So, and it's all on perception. I made that case in my last video. So, what I'm trying to say is, you know, do what the doctor says, whatever they say, take the stem cell treatments, but then you need to look up, like, how to live, how to fucking breathe properly, how to eat properly, how to get right water in your system. You gotta figure out what kind of exercises you can do at the stages you're in and gradually work that fucking up to get better and better and better and better and better. I mean, there are things you can do, and one of the biggest things you can do is not focus on what you have. You can continuously pretend that you don't have that, or visualize that whatever's healing, like if you got a brain scan or a scan of whatever affected area, whatever disease you have, and then you can literally take that, and then you can look up or get the doctor to hand you a picture of what a good part of the body would look like without your specific disease, infection, whatever it is, disorder, whatever it is that's causing you to have this thing. So then you can visualize every night with like positive self-talk / affirmations. Put it on the recorder just like any other magic I've ever taught, while you're visualizing that good scan and not thinking about your bad scan. And you can maybe even picture the bad scan for a second and slowly see it develop into that good scan. So you don't have to be a doctor to do that. You don't have to know how the body works to do that. What you have to do is get the doctor who does know those things to give you the pictures of both. And then you can ask him what specific things are damaged in there. So if he says, okay, well, it's because you don't have enough stem cells, or you don't have enough white blood cells, or you don't have enough this, whatever technical term he gives you, then you can ask all the questions, okay, so hypothetically, and obviously, if you're at a doctor, don't pretend like you're going to be able to heal yourself and say that shit, because then you're going to get his mind involved, thinking that you can't heal yourself, and what the doctor diagnosing you thinks is going to be very important for your magic. Therefore, if he's at least a blank slate, neutral on the idea, obviously has his opinion, but overall kind of neutral, and he's not really going to think about you because he's going to have 100 more patients that day to deal with, well, that's your best bet. But if you make an impression on him as if you're going to be able to heal yourself, that's why you're asking all this information, well, then not so much. So I would say something effective, okay, well, if I want to make sure my kids don't get something like this, develop something like this, what are things I can do? What should I have done better? What things would have to happen in the body for that to heal, if it's even possible? And then get him to say a hypothetical scenario. And then you can look that up and see if you can tweak that and get it better. And then you can put that into your spellcraft, into your affirmations, and actually say it and visualize the part that, like I said, the two pictures, the one that you are and the one that you want to be, roughly someone who's got the healthy that you don't have. You can visualize that transforming into that. I mean, you don't even have to go this far, but this is what I do for my children and myself and my wife, and for everybody that I know has some type of illness, if I want to get involved in healing religion. Because once again, Birch says it best. There's a reason the old people, the elders, the fucking ancestors said to not get into healing magic until at least well into like your third initiation, or at least when you're out of like 5 grades of initiation, depending on the witchcraft or the system you're doing. So, all that being said, if you're going to do healing magic on anybody, you better have it down. You better not just say, well, I'm sending this person positive energy to heal their body. You're fucking killing them if you do that, okay? Because I've already said positive energies to the collective, to the unconscious mind or the subconscious, or whatever one you want to use there, okay? Positive energy is positive ions. Positive electricity, because we are electricity. Everything is electricity, even thoughts, emotions, and all that. Emotion is the electricity we put into there. So if you're saying positivity, well, that's different. But if you're saying positive energy, it is coming down to electricity and ions. Positive ions is what's bombarding you from your Wi-Fi routers, from 5G, if that's something you believe in, from your TV screens, from, I don't know about the sun, but, which is something very interesting. You can look up an ion and the word on and off, positive, negative, and all the different names of the sun, and it'll dumbfound you. But that aside, don't send someone positive energy. Positivity, or good ass energy, like Ralph Smart says, is a good way to give you some good energy. But simply stating that you are sending someone positive energy and you want to take away all their negative energy, you will kill them, or at least give them depression or some shit. So please don't do that. Look up the shit. And I don't want you to start saying, I send this person negative ions either. I mean, who you send someone negative ions? Maybe they have too much negative ions. And that's why, once again, I know negative ions help even out their body. Well, let's say someone's already doing that, and that's not their issue, it's something else, and then you get an excess of negative ions. Well, maybe they're going to be too negatively charged at that point. The negative ions are great for balancing out the positive ions, but too much positive ions are bad, just like too much negative ions are bad. And you don't know what's going on with this person. Their issue could be they're doing it too much already. So, once again, if you're going to do healing magic, isolate the issue. So if your son has ADHD or whatever, but you figure out what had to happen, and I know this and I can tell you this, but I won't. Unless someone really wants me to talk about it, send me a comment and I'll fucking tell you exactly what to do. So, you find out where the affected part of the brain is for the that causes someone to be ADHD, or thereabouts, something to that effect. So what happens in early childhood, whatever the case is. So you got a few options here. You can go back into your memories in early childhood and every time you interacted with your son or daughter who's got ADHD, if you did something wrong, you go back in memories and you change that. You keep changing that. You do that every fucking day until you start seeing a change in your son or daughter. And then there's the same thing I just said. If you find out what has to happen, you get brain scan or whatever the case is. And then you get a proper brain scan. Or at the very least, you just look online to see an ADHD brain and a non-ADHD brain. And you visualize your son or daughter's brain turning into that. Okay? Or better yet, you visualize your son visualizing himself better. That's a little deeper, and I won't even get into that. But if I do magic for somebody else, that's how I do it. If I want my daughter's son's wife, something to happen within them, in my visualization, we're both in the circle, and I'm there, and I have the energy coming through me because I'm the practitioner or whatever. Maybe I did the middle pillar, and I have a steady beam going through me, and maybe my feet are the roots in the ground if I'm not in the astral per se. But I have them there doing the exercises, opening the circle and all that. And while they're doing it, and they're saying they're so grateful for this. See, there's something to be said about doing rituals in your head. Because in your head, you can have whatever the fuck you want. You don't have sage, you don't have incense, you don't even have candles. No problem. Build yourself a fucking temple room inside your head. So, close your eyes, and you see yourself in your house. Even though you're laying in your bed, forget you're laying in the bed. Get out of your fucking bed. Okay. So, if you're laying in your bed, close your eyes, and then in your mind, you get out of your fucking bed, you go downstairs in the basement, and all of a sudden there's a brand new room there. And you open up that fucking door, and that's your temple room. You walk in there, and you got all your candles. They're already fucking lit. And say Saturday, or, well, today right now is Wednesday, so we'll say you go in there, and this big fucking orange candle. Or orange candle. Yeah, perfect, actually. Healing. I'm talking about healing magic, and it's Mercury, Archangel Mercury. Whenever Mercury's in Scorpio is the best time to do healing magic, unless Mercury is retrograde. But if you use your words right, you can use that too. Anyways, nonetheless, so you go in there, big fucking orange candle with Archangel Raphael's sigil in there, because if you don't know, Archangel Raphael is the magical physician. And on Frederick Xavier's channel, he's literally got a woman, I'll play the video, but he's really got a woman who says she's done the ritual in her head and forgot about it, and then her grandfather got rid of stage 4 cancer. I forget of what kind. So anyways, you can have anything. You go into that temple room, you fucking light up your circle, and as you're spinning around, I spin around 3 times when I carve out my circle, which is more like a sphere, like I said, but I spin around 3 times, and once again, generally blue is my default that comes out of my hand and goes around me for some reason. I don't know why that is. And I suck it up with my left hand after, because that's part of me. I'm using the part of me to carve out my circle. But I still think Saturn. And I mean, black would probably work too, but I feel fire coming out of me, like a blue fucking fire. Because blue is protection. It's Jupiter, right? So I think that's probably has something to do with it. Plus, I'm going to the astral, subconscious mind, moon, blue, you know. Anyways, so since you're in your mind, you can fucking visualize anything. So you spin around 3 times in a circle with fucking blue flame or orange flame or whatever fucking flame you want coming out of your 2 fingertips. Or if you have an thumb, dream you could. And then out of the
who's sandwich with grapes down
you
here?
see that fucking blue flame come around. You carve that bitch up. And then you start with the fucking
all over the
Kabbalistic
place,
cross.
baby. Get one thing done at a time. Trust me, you'll do yourself a huge favor when you're older. You want to end up like Daddy doing 10
If you can't vibrate your voice like that, it's fine. Practice it though. It's really good to vibrate with God names, not just say. Vibrate. Something to that effect. And some of you Malkuths here, I learned that from Frater. He says when you're doing it there, saying the middle pillar, at the end of the middle pillar, Adone Haaretz ends up being your feet above the ground, but you see the sphere also below the ground, which is hard when you're in the astral to realize that you're on the planet, which is feet, but that makes you like a big fucking tree or some shit. Anyways, doesn't matter. Is there even a place here I can get smokes? I'm looking for a fucking corner store. The Dollarama Animal Hospital store. I got off the topic there for a second. Wonder if fucking... No, they won't. Shit. Anyways, so yeah, you point at your solar plexus area, because that's, anyways, just do it. I'm not going to get into why. Watch for your videos and you'll find the one that he talks about doing it. Anyways, anyways. So life takes me updates. And then from there, depending on what your tradition does, I call the quarters at this point. And I'm not talking about like opening the watchtower and all that. However, that is part of my ritual. But a simple, if you're just starting, and you're not at the level to call the quarters, to do a watchtower, bring in the elements, all that, to do the greater ritual of the pentagram. If you're not at that stage, this is how I did, okay? I simply said, how do I word that? I used to say thank you, and I'm honored that the elemental, and watcher of the East has come to my ceremony, ritual, whatever, something to that effect. But then I remember verse saying you command the elements, the elementals. You know, the watcher is a different thing, but you command the elements and elementals. So I eventually ended up changing that to just, this is like just during my initiation, but calling or forcing or commanding, I guess is the better word, with respect, the element and the elemental to come to the quarter, each quarter, and then I would thank the watcher for being there each quarter, because you have a kid to lit watch. So you're doing this all in your head. Anyways, and then you would start your lesser banishing of the pentagram, and you would do it, the banishing one first. You banish any negative energy that might be on you, was it your sphere, that might have came in your circle with you, which doesn't happen, anything that's in that room, anything that's in your mind. So you start off, if you're pointing at the east, well, you start at the east point, you go away from it to water, down to earth, up to spirit, down to fire, back to air, you finish there, and then you go Wittershins, counterclockwise way around it for banishing. And then you fucking assign the Venturer, assign signs. I don't know, your tongue hitting the roof of your mouth as soon as you stomp your foot. Then you go over to the other part of the quarter, the west. And then for fire, you start at the fire point, but you go away from it to earth, and then down. And you saw me do Malkuth here. I learned that from Frater. He says when you're doing it there, it's like the middle pillar. At the end of the middle pillar, Adonai Haaretz ends up being your feet above the ground. You see the sphere also below the ground, which is hard when you're in the astral to realize that you're on the planet, which is feet, but that makes you like a big fucking tree or some shit. Anyways, doesn't matter. Is there even a place here I can get smokes? I'm looking for a fucking corner store. The Dollarama Animal Hospital store. I got off topic there for a second. Look at their fucking... No, they won't. Shit. Anyways, so yeah, you point at your solar plexus area, because that's... Anyways, just do it. I'm not going to get into why. Watch for your videos and you'll find the one that he talks about doing it. Anyways... sorry, my wife texted me updates. And then from there, depending on what your tradition does, I call the quarters at this point. And I'm not talking about like opening the watchtower and all that. However, that is part of my ritual. But a simple, if you're just starting, and you're not at the level to call the quarters, to do a watchtower, bring in the elements, all that, to do the greater ritual of the pentagram. If you're not at that stage, this is how I did, okay? I simply said, how do I word that? I used to say thank you, and I'm honored that the elemental, and watcher of the East has come to my ceremony, ritual, whatever, something to that effect. But then I remember verse saying you command the elements, the elementals. You know, the watcher is a different thing, but you command the elements and elementals. So I eventually ended up changing that to just, this is like just during my initiation, but calling or forcing or commanding, I guess is the better word, with respect, the element and the elemental to come to the quarter, each quarter, and then I would thank the watcher for being there each quarter, because you have a kid to lit watch. So you're doing this all in your head. Anyways, and then you would start your lesser banishing of the pentagram, and you would do it, the banishing one first. So banish any negative energy that might be on you, within your sphere, that might have came in your circle with you, which doesn't happen. Anything that's in that room, anything that's in your mind. So you start off, if you're pointing at the east, well, you start at the east point and you go away from it to water, down to earth, up to spirit, down to fire, back to air. You finish there, and then you go Wittershins, counterclockwise way around it for banishing. And then you fucking assign a Venturer, sign of science. I don't know, your tongue hitting the roof of your mouth as soon as you stomp your foot. Then you go over to the other part of the quarter, the west. And then for fire, you start at the fire point, but you go away from it to earth, and then down, and then back to earth, up, and then back to fire. Or something to that effect, anyways. The fire would have been air, east, fire, water, earth. Okay, yes, I did that a little bit wrong. But anyways, the point is, you do all that shit, and then in the middle of your ceremony, you would visualize after doing that, and then you do your middle pillar. Okay, this is the Neophase stage. Then you do your middle pillar. This is if you have to absolutely do healing magic for somebody you love, and you're just an initiate, okay? And this is information for the adepts who have a more elaborate practice, or who's in witchcraft, who doesn't do ceremonial magic, but wants some ideas. Well, whatever tradition you do, after you do your main shit, okay? There's a place in your ritual where you are performing the magic, which is, I'm so grateful that I successfully removed the tumor out of my brother-in-law's brain. Visualizing it and getting that emotion going, jumping up and down in fucking happiness or gratitude or whatever the case is, just fucking overwhelmed with feeling. This is why it's important, if you're doing it in the flesh, that you're not self-conscious about what people think. So you turn up fucking some loud alpha hertz music in the next room, so people either don't come near you or they can't hear you, something to that effect. Plus that'll help you get in the right state, get things to go right in. It's just one thought, but doing it in your head, fuck, man, you could be crying with tears of joy, because it's harder to do that in the physical, right? But you can do anything in your head. I mean, I have really good visualization, not so good. People are either really good at visualization, but then they're not really good at being like calm, quiet, concentrating. Sitting there meditating, you know what I mean? But they can visualize like a motherfucker. It's because they have to do something, ADD-like, right? They have to be doing something constantly. So even visualizing is doing something. So if you're that kind of person, but you can't stay calm, you can't just focus on breathing, you get bored, blah, 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 but then you have to use your visualizations to help you with your concentration, so calm down and concentrate. Why is that? Well, because if you always have to be doing something, then you got to make the something you're doing concentrating. So you concentrate on a point. Anyways, I already got into all that. I'm not going to do that again. But anyways, so you're doing all this in your head, but then this is the point where you would do what I just said. Take the scan of the not good scan and the good scan, and I would take that good scan of the brain and fucking make a sigil on it saying, this is now the brain of my child there, this is his brain. I don't know, you have to word a spell correctly for that, being like, I'm so grateful that this is what my son's brain looks like, or whatever. And so you really got to make sure that picture, if you do something like that, doesn't have any other issues. I mean, they might show you a picture that has no brain tumors, but maybe that person's got something else. So very careful if you do something like that. So that's why you're better off with just something saying like, hey, I'm so grateful that my son doesn't have ADHD anymore, But you really want to, if you're doing healing magic, you really don't want to be vague. You really want to isolate the fucking problem. There's little rituals you can do with soap, the banishing rituals, and so simple stuff. And it's all just sympathetic magic. It's all little things that go in your head. And anyways, I'm going to go find that Frederick Xavier video, and I'll come back on and I'll tell you some more about something else, I guess. All right, so before I get into that video, I was talking about doing a ritual with someone else doing the ritual. So, for my daughter, for example, when she was telling me she was seeing zombies, it was, for a while, she was saying monster, she was calling every monster a zombie. She just had a bad dream, too, a couple nights ago, and the same day I had a meditation that went fucking wackadoo, let me do. I never had a dark meditation like that before. Meditating and seeing all the pictures and all that, it was like, oof. But anyways, same day, so obviously I did a fucking whole house cleansing, and she's been sleeping great. So, but anyways, But initially when that was happening, one the night I laid in bed with her, okay? And then in my mind, fucking opened up the circle. And I did my whole fucking ritual. After my ritual, I kept the circle, this is all in my head. I kept the circle open in my head, and she comes in the circle. And I mean, it's visualizing, so you gotta watch what you do there. But anyways, I don't think I opened a door for her to get in the circle. I think I just made her like appear in the circle, almost as if she was there the whole time previous to this. I don't know. So maybe that's something you want to do first, because you don't want to open up doors and not close them. You know, some people say you can leave a door in your circle and come in and out if you have to, but it's like, no, you close it when you're done and you open it when you're done. So I guess technically I probably should have closed it and then reopened it with her in there with me. But nonetheless, so then she's in there with me, and then I get her to do the Descenda Colomba Ascenda Serpens. Descenda Colomba Ascenda Serpens. Descenda Colomba Ascenda Serpens. E A O. And you take your fist, 5 pounds of pressure on your chest, and you pull out this big egg-like sphere around your body. This is something you can use if you think you're under psychic attack, under any kind of attack. If you just feel shitty, you're going somewhere like you have a bad feeling, just throw that bitch up in your head first, and then this way, when that bitch is up, nothing can get into you. It's like having this hard egg thing. It's the same concept that Freighter and Birch, like shields up and shit like that. But I got that from the same guy who writes Sorcerer's Secret and Financial Sorcery, Jason Miller, but it was in his Protection, Reversal, and something else book. So Descendant Colomba is, it means there's a column of fucking light descending into you, and then there's also a Ascenda Serpent, is ascending serpent, but it's red energy from the earth. So it says to visualize a white energy coming down through your crown, through your chakras, and at the same time you visualize a red light coming up from energy from the ground. So that would be, positive and negative ions, maybe, I don't know, but or just positive and negative energy, or just male and female, who knows, whatever you want to conceive of that. I'm not going to tell you what that is, but nonetheless, so that happens, and they meet right at your chest where you grab it, so your solar plexus once again, and that's when you pull on that, and then, so that's the first thing I had her do that night, because, maybe she was under attack, maybe there's something in the house that's supposed to be attacking me, but I can't get through my defenses, so it goes after my daughter, I don't know, so I made her do that. So she was in a circle, then she threw up the egg, boom, so that's kind of what I mean, but I'll literally
in 400 meters, turn right onto Smith Road, Ottawa Regional Road, 72.
Fuck. Sorry about that. I'll literally have Owen, Savannah, Sienna, my wife Sandy, or Austin doing the middle pillar, the Kabbalistic cross, all those exercises. So,
turn right onto Smith Road, Ottawa Regional Road, 72.
And within the middle of the right, I'll be there with them. And I don't know if you ever watched anybody doing
in 600 meters, turn left at South Haven Place.
I don't know if you ever watched anybody doing rituals online. I have a few times, but I always cringe. I don't like watching people do rituals. I don't know. Oh shit, that's not my turn. I even got her telling me where to go, and I can't even go there right. But that's the shield there, that's why. I always cringe. I don't know why, but they're very good if you don't know how to start your fucking whatever. It's when people start doing rituals online for clickbait, trying to get people to watch and feel like they're part of it. I don't know. This is just something about something like that fucks with me.
Turn left at South Haven Place, then turn right onto Ring Road.
But an informative teaching ritual, showing people what to do. Like Freighter has one video, I think it's on his Patreon.
Turn right onto Ring Road, then turn left.
I think it's on his Patreon, but he's actually, I should shut this bitch off, he's actually using a virtual
turn left, then slight right.
Virtual reality to do his pentagrams and lesser vanishings and all that, which is pretty fucking sick. So, I know I arrived, bitch, and I don't want to fucking...
Slight right, then you will arrive at your destination.
Slight right. I'm left hand. I'm not right. No, I'm just kidding. I'm neither. I'm both. I'm neither and both at the same motherfucking time. Anyways, but sometimes there's ceremonies where there's two people in the room doing different things. So if you're into like any goetic shit or whatever, then you can see where having a second person in there who's looking into either the scribe mirror or the candle triangle thing there you're supposed to use, whatever the case is, you can see where that could be beneficial even in your mind. And you'd be surprised, because at a certain point when you're doing this, you're going to start getting information, pictures coming in. You have to bring yourself back to the ritual often, because you might be starting to fall asleep, but it's not your regular sleep, it's that waking sleep. It's you are accessing your own personal small amount of DMT, so it's giving you dreams, okay? So it's not like the DMT you take, you're high, you're walking around seeing things. Although if you ever do something like salvia, it's very much like you just go to sleep for a few minutes and then you wake back up. It's not like you're walking around conscious and unconsciously seeing things, kind of like mushrooms. Doing something like mushrooms, which I have. You're conscious and you're walking around, and yet your body's tingling with this body buzz. You know, you have this hour, 45-minute period where you're just laughing off your ass. But then, depending on how much you take, things are altered. So I've never straight up saw like fucking Smurfs walking around and shit like that, but I've seen little borders around the top looking like one of those, magic eye things where you have to focus but not focus and you see a picture. Well, I've seen the borders around houses turn into that. I've seen the TV channels dance. I've seen numbers wiggle and move, and that was probably the weirdest thing off of 2 grams of shrooms I've ever seen. So like I've never literally, like I said, seen Smurfs walk or shit like that. But when I started seeing dancing letters, I was like, whoa, that was cool. And when I thought about that later on, when I learned about sigil magic and shit like that, that really floored me. It's like, letters are alive. The words are alive. We can speak things into existence because they're alive. They have a consciousness. And then it's like everything has a consciousness. That's something to meditate on. But anyways, that's my belief is your pituitary lights up the pineal, and both of them, they produce fucking DMT, and that's what happens when you dream. That's why the serotonin is very important too, but melatonin is something really good. It'll help you sleep, but it'll also help you calm down, it'll help you wake up. It's very strange how this acts. It acts differently. Melatonin acts differently during the day than it does at night. And that's to do with the free radicals in the air. Whenever there's free radicals in the air, but the sun kills them. Free radicals can be very dangerous. And that's why there's certain supplements you can take, and then they can't even touch you. But at night, without the sun's protection, the free radicals are out. So anyways, something you should look into, though, if you're not sure what the fuck I'm talking about. But anyways, so that's what I was trying to get into, is what I was trying to say about this magic. So if you're trying to heal this person, well, when you're doing a visualization, you can be doing one at your altar and pretend they're there in the flesh with you. That could work, but you're probably better off to do your one in the flesh. And then at night, at bedtime, whatever, do the other one. Do one where you're visualizing everything and they're there with you in the circle. Maybe they watch it the first time, and then maybe the second time they fucking do it, And then at that midpoint, like I said, where you ask the universe for what you want, then maybe they're asking, and by asking, they're saying they're grateful for themselves being healed. Maybe that's something you want to try. It's worked for me. It's worked greatly. When you start realizing that you are boundless and within your mind, you can do anything within your mind. And if you use your mind, okay, say you don't have much money right now, but you want to get stuff into the astral, so you can, you put an idea in that astral, well, it has to create its counterpart here. It's like there's 2 worlds, good, bad, light, day, whatever. Maybe right now it's nighttime in the astral and it's daytime here, so that makes up for the time change. Who the fuck knows? Maybe that's why doing something right before the moon comes up, it works better, or doing something right in the morning, you get something way better. Maybe that has something to do with it. I think it's more like the mind state you're in, but nonetheless. If you create something up there, if you stare at a visual, if you focus on you becoming something, if you say affirmations for how many days and you do all the extra things I've talked about, you're going to create so much energy. In this thing that you're going to create it on the astral plane. This is the power that the magicians witches, ceremonial magic people, ceremonial witchcraft people, even the shamans, and even the fucking new agers, even if they don't know it. This is what they're trying to do. They're trying to be able to fix things here on Earth. But what they may not know is that they need to affect the astral. To get the shit they want on the astral first. So you get energy, focus all your energy into one thing, create it on the astral, then you get it down here. Faster you can do that. Alright, so the format, this is going to be a little weird because this is way after the next part of the video. After I picked up my wife and stepson and we got response, so I won't get into that. But I'll try not to let that what I get into after, and I'm going to come back on that because there's two more. So the part you just saw right before this, I didn't really finish that thought, and then I went to my mother-in-law's house. So then the next clip is about my mother-in-law and about my last video, what I said, and then the clip after that is about the diagnosis my stepson got. So I know after I finish this little part, just a segue, so it kind of makes some kind of sense, then I'm going to break down some of the other shit after. And I'm going to try not to let... Anyways, why am I explaining this right now? Anyway, so I was talking about the astral and New Agers and other maybe systems. If they don't know they have to get stuff in the astral, then it's probably why people using the law of attraction or affirmations have a hard time getting that shit to work, even though there's some people that are getting it to work. And the people that get it to work, maybe they do other exercises or other practices they're not telling you about. Or maybe they're just, I'm like this, for example. I do everything to the extreme or not at all, which means I'm on the extreme. So I go to the gym. When I go to the gym, I fucking go to the extreme, or I don't go at all. There's no medium ground there for me. When I work, whether I'm tired or hungover, if I decide to go into work that day, I'm either going super hard, like it doesn't matter that I don't feel good or whatever the case is, I'm going hard, or I decide to stay home. My marriage. When we first started, I did everything to please my wife. I loved her. We were in love. We still are in love. But then I got into the occult, and I gave everything to the occult, and then she wasn't getting stuff. So basically, I gave everything to the occult and trying to do my transformation, and she... Anyways, sorry about that. Fucking message is coming. Point is, I do everything to the extreme. So if someone is really serious about changing their life and they're doing affirmations and law of attraction visualizations to the extreme, where they're doing it so many times a day, like over and over again, and they have ultimate faith in it, you know, the moment they can forget about it for a long enough period of time and have that ultimate faith that's going to happen, so they don't dwell on it, it's going to happen for them. And the reason is they created it in this other realm, the astral. So I read a long time ago, I don't know if I read it, but I know Mr. Astrotheologically, oh my god, I hate forgetting his name. He did so much to help me out. It's unbelievable what he did to help me out. And I can't thank the man enough. And I know he's having hard times, and he's back up, and I'm so glad he is. Santos Bonacci, okay? Learned so much from him. I think he had something, one of his presentations talked about how the moon protects this realm. Everything has to go through the moon first. So we have this power to be able to manifest whatever the fuck we want. Problem is, if people start manifesting whatever the fuck they want, sorry about that, I had to turn on the car so the battery didn't stop and die out and all that. So we can manifest whatever we want. Whatever we dwell on, we can manifest. Through repetition, what we dwell on tends to manifest. What we put our focus energy tends to manifest. And it's because we have this fail-safe. Call it the subconscious mind. Call it everything gets put into the astral first. Call it the moon is the filter. Call it whatever the fuck you want. Magic. Fucking whatever. Spellcraft. Whatever you want to call it. Doesn't matter. Okay? There is this barrier so that we don't just fucking manifest things. You go out there and you put thought and emotion and action into fucking, I wish this person was fucking dead and I'm going to fucking go to his house and get there and they're already dead. You know what I mean? There's a filter there. So everything has to go to the astral. It has to have enough energy on the astral. And everything on the astral plane has to exist on this plane. That's how I understand it. So whatever's up there in your life already is down here in your life already. So this is probably where the idea is of maybe not so much karma, but you're already fated for something. Meaning, all the programming you got as a child and everything you've been saying up until whatever age you are right now has created programming. So every time you mentioned what you're going to be doing in the future, whether it's I'm never going to be rich or when I'm 50 I'm going to have this, if you put enough thought and emotion and energy into those things, well, they are created up there. So what the magician is doing and what New Age and Law of Attraction and people that don't get into ceremonial magic or witchcraft because they think it's of the devil, well, what they need to understand is they need to understand this. They need to understand that astral plane where they're sending this energy. They're looking at a sigil, they're saying this affirmation over and over again, but they don't know really what it's doing. Yes, it's got to get into the subconscious mind, so that's why you say it so often, and that's exactly what's happening. But the other way to explain that is, well, the moon is representation of your subconscious mind, basically. So you have to get that on your reality in the astral plane first. And if you successfully get it up there, and then that gets filtered down here. It's the fail-safe. It's like, okay, well, if you really want this thing, then you're going to prove that you want this thing by saying you've already got it, you're grateful for it, not dwell on other shit, whatever the case. It's kind of what I'm trying to get at. It's a really hard concept to understand, but there is another realm. And the reason why I think ceremonial magic and ritual magic is the shortcut. I've said this many times. Anybody who's watched me for a length of time has heard me say ritual magic is the shortcut. And the reason I mainly give for ritual magic being the shortcut is because the magic you're performing is a type of action. So it's flamboyant. It's symbolism speaking to the subconscious mind, which is female. The female mind loves symbolism. They love acts of devotion and love. They love the man who's willing to sacrifice for his family. They love the flowers and the chocolates and the fucking doing a proposal in front of a baseball stadium. It eats that shit up. Well, that's the woman mind you're trying to impress. That's the astral plane of the moon you're trying to get your shit on. Okay? So this is the main reason I focus on why it works. The other reason that I'm slowly realizing why, if I'm doing something, whether I do a sigil, whether I'm just doing a simple spell that really you don't have to do ritual magic for, if I do my vanishings, if I do my daily practice, because I've had points where I don't do my daily practice. Well, the days I do my daily practice twice in a day, and I say I'm so grateful for this, whatever happening to the God of the day, it happens twice as fast. And I'm coming to the realization that because when you're doing these visualizations, if you take the time to do the initiation, the neophyte grade for the year, you're practicing in your temple room, which, all right, sorry about that. My wife called me and all this about something. Anyways, doesn't matter. So the reason I'm going into this is because I kept saying the New Agers and stuff like that don't realize this concept. And the reason why ritual magic is, well, the main, like, I still hold true to what I just said is the main reason, the symbolism and getting into your subconscious mind. But as much as that's still true, it's a different way, and it's going to be hard to understand this maybe if you don't do ritual magic or you haven't, I don't know, because I still have trouble understanding it. But I know it's basically what I'm saying about the astral plane. You have to focus on whatever you want intently over and over and over again to get that energy to create it on your astral plane reality, and then it filters down here. So what's up there is down here. If you have something down here, so you get rid of an addiction, all right? Cold turkey, I'm not going to eat meat. Cold turkey, I'm not going to do dope. I'm not going to drink. Well, you didn't get rid of that on the astral plane. It's still fucking there. And this is why you replace old habit with new habit. Because if you just replace, because you can do it like that. So this is why Thunder Wizard preaches action as well. You start taking actions, and you get the action, and your action is your symbolism to your subconscious mind that I'm making a fucking change. I'm not drinking no more. I'm not doing dope no more. You do this over and over again, it will allow it for a time. But if you don't replace the habit on the astral, where you do dope and you drink, with a habit from down here. So simultaneously, you're trying to get rid of the habit of dope and drinking. Well, if you're not going to AA meetings talking about it, working through it, and you're not picking up a different hobby like they're fucking doing a practice, Kabbalah Great Work, Soul Transformation, going to your garage every night when you feel like you're about to want to get high or drink and doing a project or taking care of the house. If you don't replace it, you don't do chores, laundry, sleep, work out, you don't replace the one habit with a new habit, because you've got a certain amount of time, and I can't tell you what that time is because I don't know. There's a certain amount of time that you will be allowed to show the astral that you want this changed and put your energy into down here. They will allow you a certain amount of time. But if you don't fill that void down here, or up there, however you want to look at it, with the new habit, get rid of the old habit and replace with the new habit, it will make you go back to the old habit if it's still up there. This is why this is so important to learn, which is why ritual magic, you're in your temple room and on your altar, all these things on your altar are extensions of your mind. You make a circle around you. It's a dome around you to protect you because you are going in your imagination on the mental plane. But on the mental plane, it's closer to the astral plane is how I understand it. Because you're not on the astral plane when you're in your mind and doing your imagination stuff. If you start zoning out and potentially you get sucked in by something, doing a meditation, or you ask and you do magic to be able to astral travel, which is how Frederick Xavier did it. I've never done it, so I can't comment on it. But in his video, he says he had a sigil to be able to do it. And then he waited for it, couldn't do it. When he gave up, he got sucked down and scared the living shit out of him. And he doesn't like to do it anymore. And he says anybody trying to do that but can't have control of their life or just trying to escape. That's his words, not mine. Point is, you can affect the astral plane within your mental plane using symbolism to affect the subconscious mind, the moon rules that astral plane. So that's why doing this is important. You might be in your basement or in your bedroom, or maybe you have just a candle in your bathroom and you take a shower, you turn on music so no one hears you while you do it. That's fine. You can fucking do that. And if that's all you got, fucking do that. You got a garage. And if all you can do is in your head, that's okay too, because you're probably even closer here. But there's something said to be doing it in the physical realm. I think if you start off doing it mentally, you're going to get so far, but then potentially, I don't know, you may plateau, but that depends on your energy, your chart, and what you can do. Some people have it in their chart that they can just do things mentally. Some people have to do it all physically and everything in between. That's what I've seen anyways. But point is, you might feel silly doing it, but it doesn't matter. When I proposed to my wife, I was so fucking nervous and I felt so silly getting down in front of her and doing that. When we read our fucking vows, I felt so silly. The first time I sent her flowers when I was at the house, we were fighting over putting furniture together. And I fucking like, babe, just let me keep working on this. Go answer the door. She's like, I don't answer the door. I don't care who's here. Just let him go away. I'm like, go answer the door. And I knew it was the flowers. This was our first Valentine's together. And we were getting so mad trying to put together, actually, the two boys, because we didn't have my girls yet. It was my two step boys there when we first started dating. And we're getting so frustrated putting, I think, bunk beds together. And when she went to the door and she came back, she was so happy. But you know what I mean? Things like that, they eat that shit up. Doesn't matter. Whether you're a girl or not, it doesn't matter. You're a female, yes, I get that. But your conscious mind is still male, and your subconscious mind is still female. There are different variants, but the symbolism and how you get it into there is the same. And truth be told, probably why girls are better at this. Now, guys are better at being exaggeration and flamboyant and fucking, you know what I mean, putting on a fucking show, whereas girls are more modest and, you know, they're the ones that have to be impressed versus the guys we have to impress to get a girl. We have to be impressive. We have to show off. We have to do something, whatever the girl we want likes to get her. Whereas a girl is the one that has to be impressed. But that being said, she knows what impresses her. Therefore, that's her subconscious mind, her subconscious programming, whatever has been programmed. So whatever impresses her is what she can use to impress her own mind. It's just me thinking outside of the box. It's the first time I've ever thought of that, so make that what you will. But the old-fashioned symbolism ways will work. And you need to get enough energy into whatever you want to manifest into the astral plane. You're not going to know when you did it. But like I said, when I started doing it, when I got serious, it's like, okay, I used the moon phases, okay, my specific way. But when I first started, I did it the traditional way. When they said the moon was waxing, I pulled things to me. And then when they said it was waning, I was pulling stuff out of me. I was banishing poverty out of me when it was waning, and I was invoking prosperity, abundance, and not in those words, you know what I mean? I was literally banishing all my debts. And anyways, my mindset as well, different parts of the moon. But I'd spend the 14 fucking days of the waning moon doing the same fucking candle with the same fucking sigil every fucking night, looking at that, and then doing my fucking temple, my ritual. And then the next 14 days, that. Then new month came, and this is where my magic took off. Because after I did this, probably for a year, every month, a specific goal, but I banished the thing I didn't want to happen, and I invoked the thing I did want to happen within the same month, okay? So I'm technically doing two types of magic within one 28-day period. Obviously, the voided course thing I didn't really understand at the time, but nonetheless. So that's what I did. And then after that year, now what I do is I have absolute faith, because I've seen so many of my things come into fruition that I have so much faith that I know it's going to happen. Now I know there's things that don't happen, and when things don't work out for me, like for example, I've done healing magic that's worked. Okay, I said that, I think, no, you'll hear that soon. But I've done healing magic that doesn't work. So I've gotten her brother out of the hospital a few times, David, or I think I helped that. But I can't get him to be healed, okay? And I've tried. And my Uncle Lawrence passed away last Christmas time. And I was going through a rough time as it was. I just didn't want to lose him. But I mean, I found out the day before, and they already gave him, said he was going to die. I did one candle and asked Archangel Raphael if there was a chance and a reason for him to still be here for his grandkids and all that, could he? And I didn't really go overboard, but still, nonetheless, failed. So I asked a few times, I never got an answer. And it's funny, because Frederick Xavier just had a video about this, about he asked why we have to die, because it really bugged him too. And I didn't get the same answers per se as him. And the answer I got was, well, and I've said it before, like, well, I said, who are you to play God, first of all, which I don't think is accurate or good, but that was kind of the first answer I got in a roundabout way. Mine come in a roundabout way, like I don't get this booming voice that says, who are you to play God? I get visions, dreams, and thoughts when I'm specifically either trying to write or say stuff. And the next one was, there was a hypothetical situation where David gets healed, he's better, and then within a month, he's back sick because he can't change his ways. He won't stop drinking nothing but Pepsi. He won't try to go out. His mom will still think he's sick and, maybe overprotect him. He won't eat a good diet. He won't exercise. He'll still treat people like crap. And what was said basically through a dream character was, why heal somebody if they're not going to change their ways and they're just going to keep needing healing? That's a waste of your energy. You're meant to be here to help yourself. And then the other thing was, like, sometimes you're meant to heal people or to be a part of it for certain criteria, meaning children things sometimes you can be a part of as a lesson to you or as proof, whatever the case was. It was very vague, but it was something to the effect of, there are times where healing other people is necessary, but for the most part, you heal yourself and you teach them within yourself. Unless you're going to get people to come to you and pay you to fucking do it. But even then. So, and that was hard for me to understand, but in the same sense, it's like, yeah. So, if I went and said, hey guys, I know magic, and I was told that if you agree to change your ways after, I will do the magic, I will heal you, and all you have to do is change your ways. They would either say, yeah, no problem, because they won't believe it would happen, and they probably still won't change their ways after anyways, or they would call me insane. So it's like a lose-lose. So what do, right? And that's why divination, before you do healing magic for somebody, besides yourself, if it's yourself, you can still do it and ask, hey, should I just tough this out? Do my cells need to learn to fight against this? Or do I need some healing magic? Or do I need to know what's going on so I can tell the doctor where I think the problem is, something to that effect? When it comes to other people, do some type of divination or at least a meditation on it to see how, if you should even butt in. Because people, not always, tragedy happens, and, from all outward appearances, sometimes tragedy just happens, and there's nothing you can do about it, and it seems like it's just complete unfairness. And maybe it ultimately teaches you a lesson, or maybe it's just that fucking part of life. Maybe you're too attached to your grandfather who's 99 years old, and you're going to be heartbroken when he dies, but he lived 100 years almost, you know what I mean? So that's something that's just part of life, most likely, especially if it's natural causes. Like, that's pretty awesome that your grandfather did that. But losing a young child whenever you're trying and working and doing everything in your power to try to do everything right, and it just doesn't work out for you, I can't tell you what the reason that happens for. And my condolences to anybody that's ever happened to, because I can't imagine. But before you meddle in someone's life, you might need to ask and see if it's worth meddling, because you don't want to fuck them up by accident, or you don't want to cause karma for you or create more issues or anything. So, but you can do it. So back to what I was talking about prior to all this was, if I want to give my daughter or my sons or whatever, let's say I think my son's got some, my kids play the Xbox for too long. They haven't had the Xbox for 2 months now. they were asking, hey, can we get the new Xbox for Christmas? Me and my wife said, no. My wife straight out said, I'm never buying you one of those things again. Like, why? And it's a complete mood changer. Like, when they're happier now, like, my oldest now, anyways, can't get into that yet, but, they're happy, they hang out with people, they socialize, have a better attitude. Xbox on, hey, you could be calling up to give them $20, and they'll say 1 fucking second. Well, not to me, sometimes to my wife though, but we cut that. I went pretty hard on them lately for the swearing there. And I mean, I've taken their phones, and Austin, the oldest, I've taken his phone and smashed it right in front of him before. And I mean, I'm not proud of that. It's not something I should do, because I just had to replace it. But 3 years later, I replaced it. Meaning, sorry, bud, because he was babysitting and decided not to feed his younger siblings. And he tried to make Owen do it, and then there were some accidents and some messes, and some of them still didn't eat. 3 hours later after lunch, and I came home. And he had his phone, and whatever was playing the Xbox at the same time while being on his phone, so I took the phone and I smashed it. What? You can't do that, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah? Well, whatever. Get mad. You want to go call Children's Aid, go for it. But I'm pretty sure if I tell them what you did. Anyways, it was a learning curve and experience, and I don't think that's necessarily a good fucking thing to do. And, I shouldn't have done that. There's better ways to handle that. But now it's like, whoa. If I say, give me that phone, it's like, okay, I'll do it. So, sometimes you gotta break an iPhone 7, like 4 years ago, just to fucking, get your kids, listen. But the point is, if I want, let's say, because when they play that Xbox, like, I call them up to give them $20, and they're like, 1 second, and, maybe it's because they're so focused and they're so into it and they enjoy it, so, I kind of understand it, but at the same time, it's like, get the fuck up here, or else you're gonna lose it. So, let's say I think there's entities, dark energies, whatever, on them. I don't necessarily perform magic to make sure that they go to school or get good grades or they're studying or they're going to bed on time. But the magic I like to perform on my children is to protect them from energies and entities that are harmful, maleficent, and destructive. And if I think there could be something there, especially with Austin, like his first seizure was, he came upstairs and he was terrified. It just looked like he was trying to tell me that there was like a demon or something in the house. And if you look up seizures and people that get seizures, they'll tell you they have some pretty crazy experiences. And like I said before, there was a dark shadow that walked into my house the one day. And I don't see things often, but that thing I saw clear as day, and I wasn't meditating or nothing. It was outside just having a smoke. And I was being all cocky and thinking, hey, I can fucking take anything on. All you fucking dark spirits, come here, I'll exercise you. Something stupid, and guess what? That happened. 2 days later, Austin had his first grand mal seizure. So I felt pretty bad. But who knows? Could be unrelated. Point is, that's when I will break out my visualization in my head. I'm in the circle, but so are they. And I just did my whole thing. And then I still have light coming through me or whatever to the ground. And my stepson or my daughters or my wife are doing the rituals themselves to get it out of their body. Because they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. But if at least I can keep their astral body cleansed and away from entities. Once again, if my son has a dark energy or entity around him, well, that means it's happening on the astral. Does it not? Therefore, if I handle it on the astral level, then it doesn't happen down here. Do you understand now why? I'm going to end it there and then go to the next part of the video, because that's exactly what I wanted to say, and I didn't know how to say it until just now. So, if everything on the astral happens down here, and there's something, whatever, whether it's just energy, people can just be negatively charged. Let's just say that. Or, negatively charged. Or too positive. You're too happy, you're giving out money left, right, and center until you're broke. That's not a good thing either. Sometimes you need to bring it back to neutral. And if that's what's happening up there, where there are entities and energies that we can't control nor see, this is why when you take control of your life, you do this ritual, and you are superimposing what's happening in your mental realm, which is going on to the astral realm, meaning you light up the astral realm, but the lesser banishing rituals of the pentagram keep everything the fuck off you. That's how it works. So everybody thinks the pentagram is evil and the devil. You're an idiot. You're stupid. It's to protect your astral body from everything else. Yes, they all know where you are, but they can't fuck with you. They can't come near you. You banish them away. Do this every day. So, anyways, I think that's enough for now. But yeah, if your kids are having issues, you're having issues, or whatever the case is, start with that. visualize them doing your ritual, the lesser banishing ritual, the pentagram, and whatever else, and then put a protection thing up around them in your visualization so that you handle it on the astral. And it might take 30 days of doing it, like an affirmation. Who knows? Or if you're really powerful, it might take 2 tries. But what do you got to lose? And I mean, you still take it to the hospital and figure everything out, and then who knows? Holy shit. So, take this for what you want. It doesn't matter to me. Truly, it really doesn't. But I'm going to say about it anyways, and hopefully people don't think I'm just bragging and taking credit. You know, not just me, but... So I started off this video today because we went to Chio. I'm still in Ottawa. I'm at my mother-in-law's house, who I just spoke about, the eatable mother story. Well, I'm at this house right now where David, just his PSW left, and now his nurse is in there taking his heart rate and asking about whatever. So, all that's to say, well, first of all, the whole eatable mother thing I put on Sylvie was not to insult her. It was simply just to teach a lesson. And if there's ever a time to be an eatable mother, which I don't really think there's a time to be the eatable mother, whereas there's extremes. If there is a time to be the eatable mother, it's obviously when your kids are more vulnerable. So if you have a sick child, even if he's 28 now, you know, maybe it's time to let go. Because if ultimately he's dying and he's going to die, and I don't even like saying that, but just to put things in perspective, if ultimately he's going to die anyways, would it not be better than to baby him, smother him, and keep him in the house and not have any kind of life, or try to get him out there, get him into programs with people that are like him, suffering like him, and maybe he can meet people and have more friends and have more of a social life and have more fun? Would that be more optimal, or would it be more optimal to just pretend he's like, I mean... And once again, she had to deal with this her entire life. I have no idea what this is like. So who the fuck am I to judge? But I'm in there watching, and the nurse is asking David questions, and Sylvie's answering the questions. Not even David. And Sylvie's taking his temperature, which is what the nurse is supposed to do. Sylvie has a stethoscope, and she's taking his heart rate. Like, that's what he's supposed to... She's what the nurse is supposed to do. So, once again, none of this is to insult my mother-in-law. I love my mother-in-law. And everything that we strived through, like my wife and her, for example, together, all that shit that they went through was necessary, and I don't fault her, I don't blame her, I don't think she's a bad person. Once again, I have no idea what I would do in her situation, so I'm not going to judge her situation. But I am using it to comment on it, to teach about it. But nonetheless, I'm at this house. And my oldest son, he wants his shoes that we just bought him for Christmas. He wants them real bad. He keeps trying to find ways to get a job, to get his shoes. And I just keep telling him it's not fair. And he talked about this one time where he came home with no shoes on. And he's like, yeah, it's because I was mad at you guys. So I told him straight out, I'm like, I get it, Austin. I did the same thing as a kid. I would pout and do things and try to hope my parents would see that I was mad at them. But I'm like, ultimately, now I know that they had no idea I was even mad at them. And even more than that, they just, it just hurt me more than anything. Anyways, and I didn't keep going on that line of thought because then I can get more philosophical and then I'll lose him and I'll lose everybody. So I said, life's not fair. You're better off to just tell us if you're mad at us. And then my wife chimed in. She's like, yeah. And she's like, you're always going to lose and get used to that. And I'm like, to me, that's not the right thing to say, but I can't go against my wife. So I was just like, well, I'm like, and you can say, well, how come that's fair that I never get to win in these little fights? And it's like, well, if you want something else, then get a job and fucking work for it. I'm like, if you wanted the newest iPhone or the Android, if we just buy it for you, then what, you're just going to stay in our basement? There's no motivation there for you to go out and get a fucking job. So anyways, there's no motivation there for him to want to do and get anything if we just hand it to him. And you can say, well, how is that fair and whatever else? And I said, well, this is a circle of life, bud. When I was a kid, I didn't get to win the fights, and I had to do what my parents said because they hold the car. You don't put the hand that feeds them. But if you do what they say when they say it, then there's this thing called trust and respect and honor that comes with that. And then they teach you more things, and they give you more trust, and they give you more leeway because you're being nice. Because they ultimately have the power. The parents have the power, or else they should be. You can try to take power and baby them, do whatever, and you might win. You might end up winning. You might end up being that 29-year-old kid who doesn't get his way in Walmart, freaks out because the mother babied him all life. You won that round. But the next time that you're not in Walmart and you don't have people around you, and your mom's at home and she wants to take it out on you in all these ways, well, guess what happens? She ends up fucking getting it back. So, anyways, point. I I ended up saying was the circle of life. Like, it's not fair now because you're the kid, but one day you'll be the parent, and then you'll get to have the power over your kids. And it's not that we get to have power over you, it's that we have to teach you. And the best way to teach you is through these lessons of power. So anyways, that's just a little bit about what the conversation I just had. But all this is to say that I started today off by teaching about healing magic. I don't even know why I got on that topic. I just started saying it. Then I realized it was Mercury Day, and I'm like, okay, well, when Mercury's in Scorpio, that's representative of the caduceus, the staff of Hermes, right? Thoth. That's what the medical symbol is. So before I get to that Frederick Xavier video, saying whatever, proving what I kind of just, what I've been teaching, what I've been saying, and about healing and all this, my son is no longer epileptic. And I've been saying he's epileptic now for like, what, the last 2 or 3 years, however long it's been, he's been epileptic. So when he, like I said, when he hit puberty, this thing sparked up and things started happening. Well, they did the test, and they just ran the other test. Remember I said they had to do 2 tests? Well, nothing has changed. And everything that was there that told him he was epileptic is no longer there. So they're not completely going to say it's completely gone, unrule it out, close the file, all that shit, just in case, you know, they're wrong, because sometimes they're wrong. And that could be the parents, that could be them, that could be just freaks of fucking anything. Anything can happen, right? But there's a good chance that he has no longer have epilepsy, which is crazy, right? You get a diagnosis of epilepsy, and all of a sudden, you know, you no longer are epileptic. I say, well, how is that? Well, let me tell you again. My dog had a bunch of bumps on her back. I got rid of those. My dog has a big bump on her paw, and I'm slowly getting rid of that as well right now. But got a lot of different magics on the go. But my wife has cervical cancer. Got rid of that as well when we first got together. That was not even knowing. So I don't know if there's natural healing abilities within me or my wife or someone in my house, but things tend to heal at my house. My son, my stepson, who spent the last few years moping around because he's epileptic, no longer has his epilepsy. It's healed. It's done. And people mope around about having cancer and think it's the end of the world. They're adding more energy to it. And I would say that's the worst thing you can do. Now, the last little bit, he's been telling his mom he doesn't need to take his medication because he doesn't have it. And he didn't take the medication. So make that as you will. I'm not saying the medication would help or create it or make it worse or any of that. I'm just saying he didn't take the medication and he stopped believing that it would work. At the same time, I would use the transformation sigil I got from Birch. And sometimes not even that. Just, I would take, if I knew he just peed in the fucking toilet or anybody, anytime I went to the toilet and there was pee in it, okay? If I thought of it, I'd go get the fucking salt. And I'd say, creature of salt, creature of fucking water. I banish, reject, deny all the illness, sickness, disease, infection, and viruses from this water that is from the human body. Or, that's not how I say it, but basically what I'm doing is banishing any illness and disease that's in this water, because this water came from the body, and I'm killing it in the body. And I have a special way of saying it, and I can't fucking word it right now for you. It's one of these things I figured out in the moment, so I said it in the moment. But anyways, I've done that. I make candles all the time. And I transform all harmful, maleficent energies, entities, destructive entities and energies in my house. And I transform them into protective, healing energies to heal and protect from all viruses, infections, illnesses, disease, and sicknesses for everyone in my family. I will be harm-free, so more to be. I do this often. I would say at least twice a week for the last fucking 3 years. Maybe not in the beginning there, because that's when I was just starting candle magic, and I'd focus my candle magic on something specific. But made as you will. I'm not going to say I did one single spell and that spell did it. I'm saying I did a continuous thing of spells over and over and over again. And it seemed to have worked because he doesn't have... And you can say, well, he hit puberty and that's what spiked it. And go read how fucking common that is. Okay? So, I'll find it. If I can find it, I'll put it up here. But I looked at a stat to see. Because I'm like, well, how often? And it's like something like 20% of kids that get epilepsy when they're in their preteens or when they start hitting puberty, 20% of them end up not being epileptic. 80% of them do. So my son's in the small percentage. And you can say, well, see, that proves it. Proves what? That it's synchronicity? Proves that it's coincidence? Yeah, well, what if those 20% of people are the type of parents that, whether they are magical or not magical, or they just believe in having faith and praying to God or whatever the case is, what if that's those 20% and the other ones are the type of like, well, this is life sucks, we'll deal with it. I think that's more like it. All right, so that was the good news. Like I said, I just recorded a part for before I revealed that, oddly enough, my son, for the appointment, so like I said, it's funny because I went to the doctor today, and I decided to record. I didn't know what the hell to talk about, so I started talking about healing magic. And then, okay, it's Mercury Day. It's fitting. And my son goes to the doctor on Mercury Day, and turns out he is no longer an epileptic. Once again, he was diagnosed with this, and we had appointments, a couple times every year. COVID hit, and we spanned out these appointments, but he had one, whatever, long ago. It wasn't quite a year. I think we always said 8 months. And then now, and no, things changed. And like I said, this is common enough, and some people say if you take the pills, you can control these seizures. So people take the pills for the rest of their life, and whatever the case is. But he wasn't taking the pills, and like I said, make that of what you will, okay? My son had a hard time with it at first, or my stepson, and then he decided he was an epileptic. And me and him were on the same side. I told him, though, he should still take the medication, because the medication you're taking is not actually harmful. Like, I did research on it to make sure it doesn't do anything. All it does was the part of the brain where the fucking epilepsy happens, because it's like there's scar tissue there, and it's something about when electricity, energy, neurons are firing in that spot. They have too much electricity there in that one spot for whatever reason. And all this does was, it was something, anyways, it's pretty safe. The stuff you take if a person is in a seizure, not so much, which is the benzos, which is, I did half a Xan, that gets somebody right out of a seizure. So it's got a good use. It also helps alcoholics not have the shakes so they can go to work or whatever while they're doing withdrawal. But people take it with opium and they're getting all kinds of fucked up now. But anyway, so to just finish off, I guess what I was going with was, my grandmother was a healer. She was healing people. She healed people, okay? As she got older and she stopped practicing because she was told not to by her mom, she could still read fortunes, but she couldn't do the healing anymore. So she'd be able to tell someone they're going to have an issue or whatever, and then she could heal them. Back when she was a kid, but that was of the devil. And once again, the priest told her, who are you to play God? Her mom told her, who also had this ability, not to the same extent, but told her that, it's the devil's fucking gift, and it's not her fault. She was programmed, that's what I mean. Don't blame your parents for programming you. They were programmed themselves. They don't know this stuff. You know it now. You can fix the problem. So stop blaming everybody and fix the fucking problems. This is what I mean, so the pee thing I talked about, you can say it's kind of gross, but I'm not like, hey, everybody, give me a urine sample. I'm not doing that. If I see there's pee in the toilet, especially if I know, Austin just left her, Owen just left her, one of my daughters. When my baby was young and she was having all those ear infections, it was really easy. She peed in a potty. I fucking salt that bitch every time. Lo and behold, she never got ear infections, What does salt and water do? It neutralizes things. It doesn't make it more positive. It doesn't make it more negative. It takes it from either positive or negative and neutralizes it. And we know this intuitively. Things are slippery outside. You put salt on it, brings it back down to normal. You know what I mean? If you had a stressful fucking day or you're really sore, you have a salt bath. Okay, and those are big in lots of magical traditions. You add incenses and herbs and stuff like that. And you do things with candles and you chants and God names and sometimes the Psalms if you're in ceremonial magic. But salt bath alone, you stay in that bitch. I mean, there's this one girl who cured a type of breast or skin cancer by using salt water, and she also added vinegar and baking soda and different things to it as well. And behaving that every day nonstop, and then she cured her fucking cancer. Is it because that actually cures cancer? Well,
All right, sorry for a second. I'm just going to interject here one more time about the salt. Go back to the salt and water. Now I'm not live right now and not playing my recorded audio, but just another example of not necessarily intuitively knowing, but before freezers and different things like that, we would put our meats and things we need to preserve in salt and water to preserve them. Some people still do it to neutralize it. There's a lot of magical practitioners that will bury stuff in salt when they still buy it, like especially for magical tools or anything you get from someone else to get people's energies off of it. But more than that, when it comes to healing and using salt and water to heal, well, I had my tongue pierced, and they told me to reduce infection, swoosh around in your mouth salt and water. Also, most people know that if you have a throat infection and it's not too bad and you don't want to use antibiotics, or if you use antibiotics plus you gargle salt in warm water, it kills the infection. So, and if you do a urine sample, if you are doing a drug test or whatever, well, within your urine has what drugs you've done. And also people that can tell what you've done. Same thing with your blood. This is why blood and urine are used in different types of magic, even though it's kind of yucky to think about. And it's not like I'm putting my finger in the fucking urine. Not even close. But point I'm trying to say is we know that salt and water can kill infections. And it's because it neutralizes it and brings it back to normal. We know intuitively the power of salt and water. There's nothing mysterious and magical about it. Now, necromancy, I think, and maybe some sorcery, depending on where you look. There's different definitions of it, and I know I've read some books where they say, and there's been proof of this with people, like, for example, there was a little girl who received a heart, or maybe it was a male, but there was a little girl that passed away. She was killed, and no one found her murderer. This is a well-documented story. I think it's something that Jordan Peterson actually talked about, and I looked it up, and it turned out to be true. Well, they took this little girl's heart, and they implanted it into either a little boy or a male or some other human being. And this human being was having dreams of that murder. And they were able to solve that murder by interpreting and using that person's dreams. So that little girl who had that heart, who died with that heart, well, they still used that heart, put another human being, and there was memories, ideas, dreams, subconscious, whatever you want to call it. I don't understand it, so I can't interpret it. But what I can tell you is this is well documented. So there's something to be said about giving your blood for blood tests and giving it to people. Well, that's your blood, and it's still connected to your body. There's many tests done with atoms and, the, what's it called? The split tests or something. They throw a fucking photon of light. And when no one's watching the photon of light will do whatever it wants. It'll go through the hole. If you're watching it, it's going to do what you think is normal. So the scientists figured out a long time ago that while they were watching the photon of light, it would act like a beam of light, following our laws of physics. When they weren't watching it and they were able to trick it by having a camera or something placed there that the photon didn't know it, because it has a consciousness, everything does, it would go, they made two slits and they would shoot it because the two slits were on both sides of the straight line where they were shooting the photon. When they were watching it, the photon would just hit the fucking wall. When they stopped watching it, it would go through the two beams, and they would see the evidence on the other side. So they placed a camera to record what was happening, and they saw the photon doing its own thing when their consciousness wasn't there. The more people they added to the project, the more they realized the consciousness of the people watching affected the photon. But if no one looked at the photon, then the photon would do something completely different. Well, this is related to your body. So you lose your arm, or someone else has your arm or your blood or whatever the case is, it's still connected to you. And if you have that belief, and if you know that your urine came from your body, it left your body because it had to leave your body, it's getting rid of the old to make way for the new, you're getting new water in, so you get rid of the old water, but still connected to you. When you neutralize that before you flush it down the toilet, you're going to do yourself a whole world of good. Just as all I'm saying. And, like I said, we intuitively know these things already. Salt and water will heal your infection on your throat and swelling and all that.
Like I said, make that of what you will, okay? My son had a hard time with it at first, or my stepson, and then he decided he was an epileptic. And me and him were on the same side. I told him, no, he should still take the medication, because the medication you're taking is not actually harmful. Like, I did research on it to make sure it doesn't do anything. All it does was the part of the brain where the fucking epilepsy happens, because it's like there's scar tissue there, and it's something about when electricity, energy, neurons are firing in that spot. They have too much electricity there in that one spot for whatever reason. And all this does was, it was something, anyways, it's pretty safe. The stuff you take if a person is in a seizure, not so much, which is the benzos, which is, I did half a Zan, that gets somebody right out of a seizure. So it's got a good use. It also helps alcoholics not have the shakes so they can go to work or whatever while they're doing withdrawal. But people take it with opium and they're getting all kinds of fucked up now. But anyway, so to just finish off, I guess what I was going with was, you know, my grandmother was a healer. She was healing people. She healed people, okay? As she got older and she stopped practicing because she was told not to by her mom, she could still read fortunes, but she couldn't do the healing anymore. So she'd be able to tell someone they're going to have an issue or whatever, and then she could heal them. Back when she was a